Hello, everybody. First of all, I wanna thank you, all of you that join us in this wonderful day. We have, it's a woman. We're celebrating a woman. Woman History Month. So I myself, I'm so proud. I wanna give you the honors, all the women that isn't here. I wanna give you honors. Thank you so much. You guys are creation. You guys are powerful. I wanna thank you so much. I wanna give you guys my love. I wanna say thank you so much for being in this panel, the Solano AIDS Coalition. I was talking to a few friends of mine, and it's very dear to my heart. We have a lot STIs and HIV in Solano County. The rates are really high, and they are especially in our African American woman, our Latino woman. So I was thinking that we all together, we are all my community, all you powerful women can help me to make sure that we pass the word to our kids, to our women, and that way we can together lower the rate of STIs and HIV in Vallejo. It's very important because with healthy communities we can go far. We can go further. So I'm not going to talk a lot about STIs myself because I have a wonderful panel. I have a wonderful team. Listen to all that wonderful information. Overall, I just want my powerful woman to bring the message to you guys. But to start the event, to open the event, we've been working for so long. I'm so proud to present you guys this group. We've been working with this group since they was little kids, and they are a wonderful young woman right now. I'm talking about a ballet folkloric called Quetzali, and they're going to bring a wonderful presentation, and I want you guys to put your hands together in gratitude for them. They've been with us for so many years, and they're a wonderful woman right now. Quetzali.
Wonderful, wonderful. soy chocante y hasta sangrón. Y me critican y me maldicen porque bailando soy paquetón. A mí me dicen paquetón, todos me llaman paquetón, siempre me gritan paquetón, porque yo bailo paquetón. A mí me dicen paquetón, todos me llaman paquetón, siempre me gritan paquetón, porque bailando soy paquetón. Cuando me pongo a bailar un son, y el calcetín no está animado, siempre me sale los paquetón. A mí me dicen paquetón, todos me llaman paquetón, siempre me gritan paquetón, porque yo bailo paquetón. A mí me dicen paquetón, todos me llaman paquetón, siempre me gritan paquetón, porque bailando soy paquetón. Desde los tiempos de mis abuelos ya se nota nuestra situación. Cuando bailaban con mucho vuelo, un son jarocho muy sabroso. Por eso todos los que han bailado a mí me dicen tienen razón. Para bailar bien un zapateado siempre se debe ser jaquetón. A mí me dicen jaquetón, todos me llaman jaquetón, siempre me gritan jaquetón, porque yo bailo jaquetón. A mí me dicen jaquetón, todos me llaman jaquetón, siempre me gritan jaquetón, porque bailando soy jaquetón.
Bravo, 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 bravo. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Vallejo Crico Quetzali from Vallejo. So that when you guys did that's a nice opening for Women's Day. Yes. Okay, so now we're going to start. Thank you so much, Quetzali. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation in this important day. I love you guys. Thank you. That's our panel. So
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Women and Girls Day. My name is Cynthia Wright, and I will be a speaker doing community health education.
Good morning, everybody. Wasn't that beautiful? Can I get another round of applause? Beautiful. Yes. My name is Aurelie Williams. I am a longtime advocate here in Solano County, and I will be doing the introduction and history around Women's History Month, and also the history and background around women's and girls' HIV and AIDS awareness, and closing with the poem.
And I am Jerry Ann Guzman. I am the President and Executive Director of Solano Serenity Center. We have been in Solano County for 10 years now. This is our beginning of our 11th year. And I will be discussing transgender healthcare and STIs in the transgender community.
Hi everyone, my name is Desiree Miranda. I'm a Senior Health Education Specialist with Solano County Public Health. Grateful to be here. Thank you all for coming out, considering the rain. But I'll be talking more about the overview of Solano County in terms of STI rates, HIV rates, and how we can also empower women, specifically protecting ourselves when it comes to STDs and HIV.
Thank you so much. Wonderful panel, powerful woman. Thank you for being here at Solano AIDS Coalition. I appreciate you very much. And we're going to start first with Aurelie Williams.
Well, good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Aurelie Williams. I'm a public health practitioner. I work with Sacramento County in public health. And we're here to celebrate National Women's History Month and also Women and Girls HIV and AIDS Awareness Month. And so, why are we here? What got us here? I want us to think about all the untold stories of our ancestors, the beautiful women in our lives, all the accomplishments that they have done. And sometimes the school system or the college system does not highlight. So today we are here to celebrate all the women, the beautiful women in our lives. Does anyone want to share just one person? Who's the brave soul who wants to say who are they celebrating today? One person. Yes, go ahead.
The Lord.
The Lord. Thank you. Faith. Faith is really important also in our culture. Anybody else who they want to recognize? Yes.
I'll go ahead and throw out my mom.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And one more person. Anybody else who they want to acknowledge and celebrate? A woman in their lives. Yes.
My first real serious dance teacher by the name of Luis Solano, who was a prima ballerina and captain including myself by showing us how to dance.
To dance.
Have all that and a beautiful sense of joy.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for all of you for sharing. And so today we're going to celebrate beautiful hues of melanin. We're going to recognize the beautiful Latinas, las reinas. We'll celebrate today all the beautiful Black and African American queens, all the beautiful Native American women and indigenous, and the beautiful resilient AAPI communities. Today we recognize all the queens in the house. I want to give you all a round of applause. So give yourselves a round of applause. Okay? We also just want to highlight a couple of our she heroes, our late she heroes, like Maya Angelou, poet and civil rights activist like Angela Davis, political activist, and also was a professor at UC Santa Cruz, and may they rest in peace and power. Also, let's not forget our First Lady, Michelle Obama, Dolores Huerta, an author and labor activist. And also, what about our first Supreme Court judge, Sonia Sotomayor? We also celebrate Celia Chun, a local transgender rights activist for the LGBTQ community out of San Francisco. And also Naomi Osaka, a top women's tennis player and huge advocate for mental health. And also Deb Haaland, chair to the Democratic Party from New Mexico, who served on the Native American Caucus. I highlight this to show the beautiful diversity in our womanhood. So where did women's history start? I have some gifts right here, so I need some participation, because I only have about 6 minutes left, okay? So, any guesses? Women's history actually started in the state of California. Where? Eve, yes. But what county? In the state of California. Yeah, Eve, Adam and Eve. What county did women's history start? Any guesses? In Solano. Okay, that's a good guess. Okay, but you know what? So you get for guessing, okay? Excellent. Right, Solano County. That was a good guess. It actually started in Santa Rosa. Did y'all know that? In Santa Rosa. And it started in 1978. It was a group of women who wanted to highlight the untold stories of women's history in culture, in history, in society, in medicine, and in science. From there, in Santa Rosa, it started to happen every year. All right, so remember, it happened in 1978. So then in 1980, President Jimmy Carter issued the first presidential proclamation declaring the week of March 8th Women's National History Month. Okay, so that's the week that we celebrate. So that was just a fun fact. So we've been celebrating now for 43 years. Okay. Next, we have our history of National Women and Girls and HIV Awareness Day. So the theme this year from the CDC and the California Department of Public Health is prevention and testing at every age. That's key. Prevention and testing at every age. Care and treatment at every stage. Every age, every stage. That's the theme. So today, we celebrate 18 years of National Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day. It started back in 2005. And so today, I want to celebrate everyone who's here, not only for being a woman in the history, but also to celebrate your bravery and your courage. Because HIV and AIDS is not an easy subject to talk about. There is still stigma around it. There's still fear around it. And so when it was organized, it was actually the Office of Women's Health and the Division of Department of Health and Human Services. And I want all of us to also be grounded and remember that HIV and AIDS is still, y'all hear me, still a public health issue. Please do not let HIV and AIDS be forgotten as an epidemic. It's still active, still current in our lives today. And guess what? Women of African American and Black women and Latina women are the most vulnerable still. Okay? And so today we bring all these beautiful faces, all of these brave people today. We bring together as a unity, as community members, as advocates, as champions. We bring our village together so that we can educate, so we can empower, so we can support our future youth so that they can also be protected against HIV and AIDS. Okay, so the goals today, as we mentioned, with our great, phenomenal speakers, they will be discussing how to prevent new HIV infections, HIV-related health outcomes, and also how to reduce the HIV-related disparities, okay? So, I want to give one more gift, real quick. Before I do my poem, when was National HIV Awareness Month for HIV and AIDS? When was it done? What year? And what department? I mentioned it, 2000 and something. Anybody pay attention? 2005. That's when we started, okay? 2005, we've been celebrating for 18 years, okay? What was the theme for our awareness this month? I hear some voices. What was the theme? To get tested, very good. Prevention, okay. I'm gonna give it to prevention, very good. Here you go. Thank you. So the theme again for HIV awareness for National Women and Girls is prevention and testing at every age and care and treatment at every age, okay? So now I'm just gonna close. Yes, okay, I'm just going to close now with a poem, only 2 minutes, and we'll start, okay? So I want everybody to please snap with me, okay? Please snap with me. This poem is for you, okay? This poem is for every woman or young lady right now who's ever been told you're too aggressive. Well, guess what? I want you to continue to keep being assertive, okay? Let me hear them snaps. This poem is for you. Any young lady or woman, if you've been told, Jasmine, I think you are just a little bit too much direct. Well, guess what, Jasmine? You're going to tell them, I'm going to keep asking questions. I'm going to keep self-advocating for myself, okay? And next one, they might tell you, Desiree, I think you're a little bit just too ambitious. Well, guess what, Desiree? You keep dreaming big. You keep telling your truth, okay? Thank you. Let me just read my poem. So this poem is called, Here I Stand. Aquí estoy. Today is a brand new day, and it's mine to use in a strong and powerful way. Here I stand, proud today in my beautiful brown skin, happy to show off all my scars and my bruises. I'm not ashamed of my past. I'm not embarrassed to say I'm an immigrant. Soy una inmigrante. You see, I'm not the problem that society portrays me to be. You see, I am the solution. We here today are the solution. We, the people, are the formation that will eliminate the racist equation. So, here I stand, proud to be in my beautiful brown skin. But I'm not a survivor. No, I'm not. You see, survivors tend to overcome situations. I'm a warrior, a she-warrior. I keep fighting for my husband, my children, my future grandchildren. I'm fighting for the continued racism in the land that they call the free, the abuse of my black and brown brothers and sisters, and fighting the systemic practices known as, what's that word? Policies. Really? So, here I stand today, the year 2023. I speak my truth, la verdad, loud and proud, showing off on my scars and my bruises. This immigrant Latina woman has overcome domestic violence, the loss of innocence, experienced the mental abuse and the lonely cries of assimilation as a young girl. But I am a she warrior. Just like my ancestors, I continue to fight with honor and integrity, but not for the pure acknowledgement of popularity, but for change, equity, and racial equality. So I say to those who sit in formal power, aquí estoy, here I stand. I'm not your alien, I'm not your data. I'm not another minority statistic, and I'm damn sure not your next medical experiment. I am a she warrior, beautiful in my brown skin, educated, intelligent, magnetic, God-fearing Latina warrior. And I like to close with a quote from professor and activist Arthur Martha Moreno Vega. Says, "We are beautiful. We are beautiful. You are beautiful. We came to this world perfect. Our hair, our color, our nose, even our lips, perfect. We do not have to compare ourselves to anyone because we are a beautiful reflection of our ancestors." Thank you.
Wow, wonderful speech. And our next speaker, please put your hands together for Cynthia Wright.
Thank you. I think I better come down. Okay. As I said, my name is Cynthia Wright, and I am a Solano County resident. I was born in San Francisco and raised in Vallejo. So this town means a lot to me. So to hear about the incidence of HIV and STIs rising higher and higher is really effective. It just hurts my heart that we can't get more people into testing. Can't get more people into wanting to know their results. 1 in 8 people in Solano County now know their results for HIV and STIs, which is alarming. I have some statistics here. I just wanted to talk about a few of them that I pulled up. With gonorrhea, we are 229.6 in the whole state. San Francisco is a close behind us. But for Solano County, that's pretty high. Our chlamydia findings are even higher because you can live with chlamydia for such a long time and not know you have it. And you can pass it. You pass it to one person, they pass it to 10, 10 pass it to 10 more and 10 more, and before you know it, our rates are just up and out of the roof. Solano County, our rates are 714.3 in chlamydia. Solano County has been on the rise for several years, which is really sad to hear because we're not a huge county, but we are a very powerful county. If more people would come out, get tested, making testing a regular thing, not making it to where you're ashamed to go and get tested. We need to learn to empower our women to know that it's okay to get tested. It's okay to know your status. It's okay to want to be a part of a community that is trying to eradicate STIs in Solano County. Syphilis is another one that's pretty high. We're not as high as most counties with syphilis, but we're up there. And I'm sure our CD will tell us more rates about that. For me, I was born, like I said, in San Francisco, raised in Vallejo, graduated from high school here at Hogan, which is no longer a high school, but Hogan Senior High. So, which is now no longer a high school, but it's okay. We stand as, historians to say, I used to go there.
It still says high school on the building.
Does it? I'll have to drive by there, okay. So with me being from Solano County and knowing a lot about Solano County, I was also diagnosed here in Solano County. I've been living with HIV for 28 years in this county. I've moved around to several counties. I was one of the first black speakers here in Solano County to really come out and say, yes, I'm HIV positive, and it's okay. We can live, we can love, we can enjoy life just like everyone else. We don't have to be hidden and be put in a place and say those people over there. I remember when I first became HIV positive, that was the stigma. Those people over there. And I didn't tell anyone I was positive. I used to just listen to the communication and the conversations that people would have. Some of my best friends were like, oh, let's stay away from her. You don't know how she's going to spread it. Let's not go to the grocery store she goes to because we don't know what she has touched. We have come a very, very long way. And who started this run? Women. I'm not going to take it away from our HIV positive gay men and gay women, but I am going to say that black women started standing up right around the 80s and saying, you know what, we need to be heard just as well. Because women were thinking we can't have any more babies. As Aurelie says, the brown and the black babies, we can have babies, we can love, we can continue to live our life. I thank God for my diagnosis because at first it was a death sentence. They told me I was going to live for 7 years, and all the time I'm thinking, what am I going to do with my children in 7 years? I was never going to be able to see my grandbaby. You saw 2 of them here. I have 6 today. Thank God I'm here to be able to see my grandbaby. And I thank God for that because a lot of people are not here. Some people decided they didn't want to get on the medications. As soon as Magic Johnson said what he was getting on, I ran to my doctor. Put me on whatever he's on. That's what I want. I want to be on whatever Magic Johnson is on because he's doing it. He's surviving. And I've been through lots of medications. I've been on lots of waves going up and down, lots of treatments, lots of studies, you know. I don't want to be, like Aurelie said, the next test project. I don't want to do that anymore, but it helped me out so much to understand how HIV works in your brain, in your body, and how you can live with this stuff. It's not a death sentence anymore. It is if we don't get tested. So as a community, I think we need to really work hard to bring people into testing, to make testing a regular routine. In the women's health clinics, I think it needs to be a regular routine, like we get our pap smears. We should get HIV tested. It's sad to see so many women find out that they're positive the day they give birth to a child. That is sad. It's very hard. You're already up in rage of having this baby, pushing this baby through everything that you had, and now you're HIV positive. So first thing you're thinking, how am I going to be a mother to my child? That was one of my thoughts. How am I going to be a mother to my children? I sent my daughter to live with her father, my other kids. I said, Mama, you're going to have to take care of them because I can't. But lo and behold, here I am, 28 years later, because of medication, because of me sticking to the things that I know that are going to keep me healthy, walking, enjoying life, doing the things that I know others are doing. I was chosen by our government to go to Africa to represent our women over in Africa on how to take care of themselves using female condoms. A lot of people don't hear about female condoms, but with the female condom, a lot of women are able to take care of themselves and prevent themselves from becoming HIV positive. So it's really important. If you haven't heard of them, please check them out. So there are still a lot of people in our community. I've just returned back to our community. I was living in Las Vegas, and I felt like when I was in Vegas that I had taken a trip backwards because all the fighting that we had done on the front line, going to the governor in Sacramento, going to the politicians in Washington, D.C., and fighting for women's rights for HIV to be discussed and to be known that black women are HIV positive. That wasn't a part of the statistics at one time, but we are now. There's a lot of fights. I fight with PWN, Positive Women Network. I fight with World Women Organized to Respond to Life-Threatening Diseases. They're right in Oakland. That group helped me to understand me, because I didn't understand what I was living with. I had to understand from a bunch of other women that, oh, we can live with this. I went to a camp, it was 300 beautiful women living with HIV. And they taught me how to live with HIV. And I stand tall today. My mother used to say, you know, I'm half Hispanic, and you know, that's one thing we do as Hispanics. We always say, just be quiet. Put it under the rug, don't talk about it. It'll be okay, I'm gonna pray on it. So when my mom told me that, I thought about it, and it just was eating me up. And I said, Mama, I have to tell the world. She said, you're gonna tell the world? I said, I'm going to tell the world that I am HIV positive and I have nothing to be afraid about. And I stand today, I still talk about HIV. I will always, it's a part of me, it's living in me. I'm not living with it, it's living in me. So I have to keep my life going and keep saying, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna do this with everything that I have. My beautiful grandbabies, like I said, I have 6 of them. I didn't think I would live to see my grandbabies. And I am so happy to be able to be here to see my grandbabies and watch the children grow up and be HIV negative. So with that, I'm going to stop and let Mario take over. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I appreciate you being here for Women and Girls Awareness Month.
Wow. Okay. Powerful testimony from Cynthia Wright. Powerful. Is something that we have to talk about it. We have to. If you have friends, woman friends that they are HIV positive and they are afraid to talk about it, you know, it's better to talk about it. It's better that you friends know and everybody's knowing. That way you avoid all that stigmas. You know. So we have together. We have to work in stop the stigmatization about HIV/AIDS and other STIs, and talk about to our kids about it. You know, our kids is our future. So, because culture and religion, we a lot of times mothers, fathers, we don't talk to our kids about something that is so natural, so normal. And I always talk about, you know what, we just have to take the time back when we was young, and it's the same thing in a different way right now. So, but if we don't talk about it with our kids, you want to take the chance for your kids later on to come and tell you, Mom, I'm HIV positive, or Mom, I'm pregnant, or Mom, I have other STIs like syphilis or gonorrhea, just because we afraid to talk about it. So my next speaker is a friend, and he's been also with the coalition for several years, and we have a lot of stigmatization. Oh, sorry, how you say that? Stigma. Stigma. Okay, I don't know the other word. So we have to the same way the transgender woman passed through a lot of stigma because they are transgender woman, and also on top of that the STIs. And I have a very good friend of mine, Jerry Ann Guzman, the director of Solano Serenity Center, to come and talk to us a little bit about transgender woman and STIs. And everybody have to be ready, because in the end, I have a small questionnaire that I want to pass to everybody. So to see how much we learn. If we don't learn anything, that's fine. We can come back again and I will teach you again. Well, thank you so much. So, Jerry Ann.
Good morning. I'm supposed to talk about STIs and transgender individuals, but let me give you a little bit of history first. There are, according to the last census, 1.5 million transgender people in the United States. Out of that 1.5 million people, there are 180,000 counted of us that have fully transitioned. out of 300 million people in this country. So when I was preparing for today's talk, I did some research. And there are no statistics specifically for transgender individuals. I went to Cambridge, Oxford, the World Health Organization, the CDC, the National Health Institute, State of California, and nobody has information for transgender individuals. They glean their information off of men having sex with men. Gay men, in other words. That's where we get our information from. So it skews any numbers we have for trans individuals anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. Each of those organizations that I spoke about state it would be a boon to be able to have these numbers. So when you hear about these laws, these things that we have to fight against, right now in the United States there are 450 bills being heard in 30 states about the LGBT. 175 of those 450 specifically target transgender individuals. Think about that. All for 180,000 people. We don't have any way to voice our concerns or to give you good information because it's not out there. These fine panelists here can speak about women's health. I am a woman, okay? I'm a transgender individual. I am two-spirit. I am Native American. I am also Hispanic, Latinx. And I can't give you information. I can talk about, this flyer's out in front, which you should all grab. This flyer here will tell you more information about what we're talking about today than I can give you. That's the sad reality of the 21st century in the United States of America. We can't use old data. The data that is pulled from the WHO, from the CDC, and from NIH, all are 50-year-old statistics that they are updating. But there's only 1.5 million people that they can even look at, and 180,000 of us that have fully transitioned. We can't talk about youth and sexually transmitted diseases in the transgender community because out of all of this hype that you're hearing on the TV and on the radio and do all this, currently today, there are less than 60,000 children transitioning or considering themselves gender fluid in the United States. 60,000. And here we're fighting about bone density. We're fighting about, well, it's not fair for a boy to be on a girl's team. We're fighting about, well, they're transgender, they don't matter. You know what the big problem is? The suicide rate among youth under 18. Attempted suicides are 82%. Think about that. Think about our youth. 82% attempted suicide. So out of these children here, 4 would be gone or attempted. 30% succeed. This all correlates to this women's time. Because as mothers, as grandmothers, abuelas, aunties, it's our responsibility to take care of the youth. It's our responsibility to say, hey, guess what? We love you no matter what. So you have HIV, so you have AIDS, so you have whatever else. It doesn't change the fact that we still love you. You know, I met Mario a little over 11 years ago now. And the minute that I met Mario, we connected. I can finish his sentences, and he can finish mine. It doesn't matter if he would be HIV positive or if he has whatever. We're human beings. Don't spread these diseases: chlamydia, gonorrhea, genital herpes, HPV, syphilis, HIV. Get tested, get checked out, argue with your doctors, and stand up for your rights. Little story, I went to go see the doctor back in October. Had a little female problem. I got a call 2 hours before my appointment from the doctor's nurse. Now, I'm going to Oakland, mind you, for Kaiser. Are you sure you're in the right clinic? Can you describe what's wrong? Describe what's wrong? Because I'm a trans woman and I have a vagina. Oh, you have a vagina? We're in the Bay Area. We're 30 miles from San Francisco. And we're still getting into discrimination. That's why transgender individuals don't go to the doctor. Discrimination. How many times have I been called sir? How many times have I been looked at like, oh, well, we can't help you because we don't know. And that's from these fine institutions, even UCSF. I went to La Clinica the very first time. I'm the first transgender individual in Solano County to transition into partnership. I had to go to the director of partnership to get my services done. And I had their phone number to pave the way for the other girls in this city, in this county. I went to La Clinica, and they said, well, what's going on? I said, well, I'm transgender. You're trans what? That's the way the medical community looks at us. I now teach quarterly at Toro University to explain to the medical professionals, hey, guess what? We're here. Let us teach you what we need you to know, so that our children who do transition, our youth that are transitioning, don't have to fight the fights that we're fighting. These are the things we have to look at. We're not men having sex with men. We are women. We are trans men, trans women, two-spirit. So help us in that movement, in that push, to get proper medical care, because we don't have it. The numbers I can give you for transgender information is, again, men having sex with men, gleaned from those reports. So that's the state of the transgender in this HIV fight, this STI fight, not only in Solano County, but in the nation and around the world. Well, thank you.
Okay, very good information. Thank you. I'm going to bring you guys a little bit of entertainment, and that way we can break a little bit all this information and just free the mind. And then after that, we're going to bring a couple of more speakers, and I want to introduce you guys a wonderful ballet folklorico. So, ballet folklorico Nexayolin. Bravo! Look at that beautiful younger ladies that are going to come to perform for us. You guys are going to enjoy this wonderful, wonderful, colorful. Look at these colors. So.
Son unos ojos tan primorosos, ojos más lindos no he visto yo. Hay quien pudiera mirarse en ellos. Hay quien pudiera besarlos más, gozando siempre de sus destellos y no olvidarlos nunca jamás. Y todos dicen que no te quiero, que no te adoro con frenesí. Y yo les digo que mienten, mienten. Y hasta la vida daría por ti. Me muero de frío.
Mariquita se llamaba, la que vive junto al río. Tápate con tu rebozo que ya me muero de frío. Mariquita se llamaba, la que vive junto al río. Tápate con tu rebozo que ya me muero de frío. Mariquita se llamaba.
Si porque me la llevé, su mamá se me enojó. Ahora que me lleve a mí, a ver si me enojo yo. Si porque me la llevé, su mamá se me enojó. Ahora que me lleve a mí, a ver si me enojo yo.
Sí, porque me la llevé, su mamá se me enojó.
Ahora que me lleve a mí, a ver si me enojo yo.
Sí, porque me la llevé, su mamá se me enojó.
Ahora que me lleve a mí, a ver si me enojo yo.
Sí, porque me la llevé.
Mariquita, dale un beso, tu mamá me lo mandó. Mi mamá manda de mí, pero en mi boquita yo. Mariquita, dale un beso, tu mamá me lo mandó. Mi mamá manda de mí, pero en mi boquita yo.
Mariquita, dame un beso, tu mamá me lo mandó.
Mi mamá manda de mí, pero en mi boquita yo.
Mariquita, dame un beso, tu mamá me lo mandó.
Mi mamá manda de mí, pero
you guys to Desiree Miranda from the Solano County Public Health.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Desiree Miranda. I'm the Senior Health Education Specialist with Solano County Public Health. I actually work for the EPIC Bureau, so I work for emergency medical services, preparedness and response, immunization, and communicable disease. And so my main responsibilities is supporting our emergency preparedness program, but I also work in collaboration with our communicable disease department, specifically our STI and HIV surveillance department. And so we provide HIV and STI education and prevention resources. And so I'm going to talk about a little bit more about Solano County, give you an overview of the impacts of STIs and HIV among our community, especially our women, our girls, and our trans women. And I also want to share my personal story as well. And so across the state and across Solano County, we are seeing really high rates of STIs and HIV when it comes to women, especially women of color. This is very alarming, considering that we have plenty of resources offered to the county, to our community members, but it's also increasing the awareness of these services and making sure that our community members know that these resources exist. Similarly, it's also important to make sure that we're strengthening the systems that we have within the county, but also leveraging our community partners, such as the folks here on our panel, also with Solano AIDS Coalition as well. Among the STI and HIV cases, we are seeing really high rates among those that are 20 to 24 years old. And we're also seeing alarming increases among those between the ages of 15 and 19 years old. I'm going to let you sit on that for a second. Again, we're seeing really alarming rates among 15 to 19 years old here in Solano County. Now, when I think back to, so I'm also born and raised in Vallejo. I currently still live here in Vallejo. I grew up in a very traditional Filipino Catholic household. And so when it comes to quote unquote the talk, it's still considered taboo. This types of discussion is not mainly discussed among our family members. And it also goes back to religion. Religion plays a huge role in this as well. And so when I first had the talk with my parents, and if this is being recorded or live streamed, hi mom and dad. But when I first had the talk, I was actually 17 years old. I was actually pretty old when I had this conversation with my parents. And it actually wasn't until after the fact that my dad found out that I was actually on birth control. Can you believe it? And so I share that story because I'm sure there's also other people out there, especially young folks, who may be in that similar situation. And they may also be going through other challenges, right? They may be experiencing other cultural, social, and economic challenges like domestic violence, like poverty, like discrimination, like racism, like lack of access to STD and HIV testing, treatment, and healthcare. And so I want you to think, I'm going to have you sit on that for a second, okay? I want you to, if you want, close your eyes, and I want you to think back to when you had that talk with your parents. Okay, how old were you when you had that talk with your parents?
Never happened.
Right? Okay, so some of you are saying it never happened, right? Or if you did have that conversation, it was probably just disregarded. They never mentioned anything, or they said something as simple as, don't do it, right? And so, again, I want you to think back to what I shared earlier about the alarming rates among our young folks, especially our teens, right? And so, it's a hard discussion to have, but I also encourage all the parents in this room, all the aunts, the uncles, to normalize this conversation within our household, right? We can share all the resources within the county. We can also work with the schools to also normalize this conversation within the schools and provide sex education, but it also starts at home. And so when we think about the young folks, especially those in this room, I personally think folks are not too young to have this conversation. You can ease your way into this conversation by talking about, body image, right? Relationships, consent. And so as we think about the impacts of STIs and HIV among our community, I also want to empower folks to take charge of their health. As one of my mentors she's sitting on the panel right now, and I look up to her, Miss Aurelie Williams, she always shared with me, step into this brave space. Step into this brave space. Take control of your health, express your freedom, and get tested. Know your status and take control. At the county, we do offer an HIV confidential line. I actually have a table out here, so feel free to stop by and get that number. But you can text and call that HIV confidential line. You can request to have HIV testing. You can request to be linked to CARE. You can also ask to be screened for STIs and HIV and see if you're eligible for the Ryan White program as well. I also want to share we provide other services. We provide case management, assisting those who have been diagnosed with STIs and HIV. We also provide partner services where we can notify anyone who may have been exposed, take that burden off of you. We also refer our clients to family health services. We also refer them to maternal, child, and adolescent health if you're pregnant. And this is where, again, we look to our community partners. We can't do this alone. I'm sure you know the county also faces challenges with these systems that are truly ingrained when it comes to the history of the impacts of our Black and brown people. But I also want to share that it also starts with trust, right? Not a lot of people, especially those of color, trust the government because of history, right? And so that's where we have Mario, that's where we have Jerry Ann at the Serenity Center, that's where we have all our panelists here and the community members that are here today to come together so that way we can collaborate on these efforts and also leverage our capacity. And so with that, I'll be at the resource table here, so feel free to stop by. We have some free goodies, so please stop by, ask questions, ask me how you can get tested, and ask me how you can collaborate and join these efforts. So thank you again, everyone, for listening, for being here, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you so much, Desiree. My next participant, and a very good friend of mine. years ago, well, she will tell the story, but I know her for so many years. I know my wonderful Yolanda said, so it's Yolanda mother and Yolanda daughter. Yolanda made the pitch cable for this event. Thank you so much for being here. So I want to introduce my wonderful friend and Solano Exclamation speaker, Yolanda Cunningham.
Hey, good morning. Okay, so I'm actually going to read a poem that my mother wrote, but before I get into it, I would like to speak about, and of course I wish that there was a lot more young people here, a lot more young women here. You know, maybe that's something that I need to do, get out into that community of the very young girls, and and give them education, because with education comes confidence in certain things. You know, I love tools and I love making stuff like that. So of course, when that conversation comes up, I'm all in. I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? You got the miter saw, you know, the more the education that they have, the more confidence that they'll have in those situations where it's just them and another person. You know, they're going through different things. You know, they're growing up. It's, you know, hormones and things. But the real power is in being able to protect yourself and be able to tell your partner, we need to protect ourselves. Because, like I say, there's way worse things than a baby that you can walk away from the situation with. So, you know, but, you know, emotional maturity and things that come along with it, and there's power in being able to have success, you know, and to initiate that, you know, when you're in that situation, you know, it's really important. But so I believe in education, and you know, it brings confidence, and it's important to instill that in our girls, and you know, in our men too, but you know, in our women, because you know, we're the ones that are, you know, in the situation where we're like, this I know it's not what I should be doing, but I'm in this situation and I don't have the language to say that you know, I want to say. So I love Mario. He's been in my life for a long time. He's known me at a point in my life where nobody else has known me. I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry.
Okay, I'm gonna read it. Okay. Yes. I'm a crybaby. I cry at everything. Hallmark commercials, like, I couldn't even understand the song she was singing and I was crying. Okay. So my mom wrote this poem. It is called The Golden Rose. The golden rose held a model-like pose. You dreamed to seek her unique physique. Her beauty and charisma was very mystique. She walked in stride with glamour and pride. The beauty she held was like some kind of a spell. She had dips in her hips. She had deep dips in her lips, in her shapely hips. They made cars turn for a second trip.
Okay.
In the sun, you could see her glistening and keen. She carried herself like a beauty queen. The gold in her rose was something to behold. Her color so bold and filled with soul. As I looked at her face, something seemed misplaced. When her eyes were still, they began to reveal the hurt and the pain no one could explain. As I looked deeper within, I knew there had been a reason she lacked her character within. Her outside was perfect, no flaws could be seen. What I saw inside was ugly and mean. Her petals were worn and burned with big holes. No one would believe what she held in her soul. Further examination revealed the contamination concealed. It sent a cold chill down the back of my neck as I continued to check, wondering what would be next. When the naked eye could not see, there appeared to be painful sores with scabs. They had been peeled and replaced with other sores that grew in their space. The golden rose withered and died. From distress and disease kept hidden inside. As I continued to probe deeper within, I was able to see from beginning to end. The deadly disease locked from within. The final prognosis was an unforgiven sin. She didn't realize he was right by her side, waiting to forgive and allow her the freedom to live. Forgiveness is a very powerful tool. To forgive is to be forgiven, and to be forgiven is to be set free. That's it.
Okay. What is the name of the poem? Again?
The golden rose.
The Golden Rose. I'm going to make copies of that poem and I'm going to give to everyone, or I send it through text because that's a beautiful poem. It is beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, so now we're almost there. You guys, did anybody have any questions for the panel? Any questions?
Thank you all for the
information.
Okay. All right.
I think it's the young lady there, she was talking about young people needing to be tested at almost any stage. And I was wondering, why would, like, these children, like, are you talking about children as young as this?
I think she meant
for HIV, huh?
Oh, I think she meant.
No, I think I need to make it with, I don't know.
It was, I think it was a
theme for the CDC.
Yeah, the theme.
Yeah, so the CDC recommends, if no one knows, in the state of California, a youth can seek any type of reproductive care as early as the age of 12, legally, yeah. So if my 12-year-old seeks care for reproductive health, for testing, for questions, they can do that on their own without parental consent, and that is legal in the state of California. And so what the CDC recognizes is, and it's on the theme, that at every stage, at every age, they encourage to get tested. But of course, as Desiree so eloquently said, that the conversation should be a safe environment. The conversation should be encouraging. The conversation should not be shaming. The conversation should be, as I like to call it, a heart-to-heart conversation with a trusted adult also. Because there is the trauma, the generational trauma that exists in our communities as well. So having that one trusted adult, that one trusted individual to support our youth is imperative in their mental health, in their emotional health as well. Is that what you were referring to?
Well, I just heard
Yeah.
you say any ages. I'm not going right now. Yeah.
Oh, no, the CDC says, if I can read it correctly if you want. It says the theme, just so there's no miscommunication, the theme from the CDC and the Department of Public Health is prevention and testing at every age. That's what is posted on there, okay? And it says care and treatment at every stage. I would like to mention also that Cynthia mentioned something crucial that we don't think about. It is saddened to deliver a baby and you have HIV without knowing my status. So what is at every stage? At birth. So I just like to include that as well, that when we think about testing and at any age, we're not deliberately seeking, oh, I'm gonna go test this little 3-year-old, right? No, but what I'm speaking about, so true of how many deliveries, I used to work in maternal health, that no, it's okay, I don't wanna get tested, and it's okay, people can decline. But having that support system so that we can make an educated, informative, powerful decision. Does that make sense? Okay.
I want to follow up on that. Last year came out to me and to her family And I think her comfort level to come out and acknowledge who she is, opened the door and showed that talking about it at 9, 10 years old, she was with me when I hang around Mario. She comes down and participates in the 4th of July parade. She participates at the booths every now and then. She was comfortable to come out and talk about it. But how many kids aren't? How many kids can't talk to their parents because of religion, because of stigma, because of... I'm 62 years old. I never had to talk with my parents. Okay? It was just, don't get in trouble out there. Get it into your kids' heads now. I don't care if they're 7 years old, 9 years old. There are 12-year-olds that are getting pregnant, that are getting STIs. Did you know that the state of West Virginia this year raised the marriage age for a young woman from age 12 to age 16? Wake up, people. This is what's happening. 12 years old. That was still in the state in the 21st century. I'm sorry. Our kids aren't the sheltered individuals we were when we grew up. They have the internet. They have streaming services. They have more knowledge now at these ages than we did when we were in our 20s. So think about that. Think about what goes with that. What were you doing in your 20s? What were you doing in your 18, 19 years old? Okay?
Bravo. Okay, another question?
Because I know when I'll be 36 this year, but like when I was in 5th grade, we had sex education, we had STI awareness, we were holding the little flower babies. But I noticed my kids, my oldest will be 18, I was 16-year-old, they didn't have sex ed. So was that like put out of the schools for some reason? Is it going to be, it needs to be put into schools? Because I also work with younger adults, like you're saying, 20 to 24, and they're like clueless about a lot of STIs and, oh, but you can get HIV like that. I'm like, yeah. Like, was this put out of the schools for a reason?
Okay.
Can we get it back in the schools?
Let me give you a little clue, and I know the County Health Department will follow up with this. In 1982, when I got out of the Army, my very first job as a civilian was a sex ed instructor for the Solano County Health Department at Hogan High School, at Benicia High, Liberty High, and at Peoples High. I was the one who went around setting up a room once a week at each school to discuss sex ed. And back then, the pushback is exactly what you're seeing right now in Florida, in Texas, in Arkansas, in Louisiana. I was hated. I had teachers who spat at me for bringing this into the schools. And when my kids went to school, to the high schools in 1999, 2000, 2003, this program had been cut from the schools as far as I know, because we'd never seen it again. So I'll let Desiree talk.
So that's one thing that we're also noticing as well, is as we're collaborating with the schools, specifically, actually I'm not going to put them on the spot, I'm just going to say we're collaborating with the schools. And so what you're saying, that there's nothing being done within the schools. I know there's one school district that is asking for parent feedback on possibly implementing a curriculum, a sex ed curriculum. But from what I'm seeing and observing is I feel like that's being put on the teachers, specifically the health teachers and the PE teachers. And so at the county, as we're seeing these gaps and these challenges, that's one thing that we're hoping to foster and strengthen moving forward is really developing the relationships with the school districts, each individual sites in particular. Right now we're starting off with the high schools here in Vallejo, working with the mental health support providers, the academic support providers, to be able to provide these services at first within their wellness centers. So I don't know if you guys know, but here in Vallejo High, or the Vallejo High schools, each site has a wellness center. And so this wellness center, it's currently staffed with a mental health support provider, and they provide resources for mental health, but this is also another opportunity to leverage these types of resources when it comes to STIs and HIV. We are coming across some pushback within higher ups among the school districts, but again, that's where our team is really gunning it. And again, working with other CBOs, other community partners, other advocates to really push this message. And again, this is where I also encourage the parents, we can't do this work alone either. It really has to come from other voices so that we're really pushing that message. But to answer your question, that's one thing that we're currently working on, is getting into the schools and possibly having this discussion at the Solano County Office of Education at a higher level, so that way all school districts across the board within Solano County has some type of resources or being able to support the young folks. We're also working with the two colleges within Solano County, which is Cal Maritime and Turo University. So that's one thing that we're also trying to leverage, is getting support from them to be able to provide these resources as well. I ask each and every one of you to help join us with these efforts, again, especially getting into these schools, because like you said, right now it's not, there's no resources currently being done.
On that same subject real quick here, one of my board of directors is a she's a therapist now, and she works at one of the schools in Fairfield. And she sat in on a class with this one instructor who was talking about basically sex ed. And they said that there was no way to stop the transmission of sexually transmitted infections. They were going through the slides, they saw a condom, and she said, well, I never used one of those. And then she saw a female condom, and she said, oh, they have those? This was an instructor in our schools in Fairfield. And she was teaching on sex education or human biology. So parents, stand up. These kids need to know, because we don't want a bunch of statistics rising in this county. We don't want to bury our young. We don't want to have the problems that we faced in the 80s with HIV and AIDS.
Okay, well, I want to talk a little bit about that. In 2000, I think it was 2008, 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have programs in the Vallejo High School and Hogan's High School, and the Solano Education have programs also with our youth in our air corps. But the problem is that the parents was complaining a lot about the education that the kids was having. They thought that it was promoting sex in an early age. And slowly the Planned Parenthood programs, the PAPA program, and all the programs that Planned Parenthood has in the high school, it disappeared slowly. So that's one of my main concerns. I mean, that's why the Solano Education for years, so that's why the Solano Education is push education. You know, we are everywhere. We're talking to our youth, we're talking to a younger woman or younger kids. We have programs, so if anybody, any of the parents want for If you guys have problems to give the information to your kids, you can call us, and we find the ways. I mean, I am one of the ones that asking to teach our kids in an early age about STIs, because you know what, I mean, my family never tell me anything about it, and you know what I mean. The funny thing is that religion and culture is stopping us to protect our youth. We thinking that we're protecting our youth because we are not talking about something that is so natural, is so normal, and everybody, we all are aware of in our age what's happening when your hormones go crazy. We already know. So I mean, if we're going to believe that God is going to come and save our kids, we are wrong, because we have so many kids and so many youth that is getting infected, and really they don't know nothing. I have one of my younger educators. He's 13 years old. It's Corny's son, one of my volunteers' son. He told me, I mean, I want to help you. I want to be part of this. Because they're not teaching us nothing. So I mean, that's one thing that we as parents and we as a community together, we can help and make sure that our schools in Vallejo teach STIs and HIV education. And that way we can, again, lower the rates, because if you go into the statistics, like Desiree was talking about, our youth and our African American community, our Latino community, our Latino women, our Latino young kids, they are in risk. And we're thinking that they are not. I mean, one of the other things that I always talk about it is like, you know what? A lot of people think that because it's HIV medications, it's okay to get infected. Oh, it's okay. We are out of this pandemic. Well, let me tell you one thing. That's wrong, because when you get infected with the HIV virus, you don't even understand what is coming next. Yes, of course, you're going to have a wonderful life. You can live a healthy life, but the opportunistic disease that come along with HIV and the side effects of the medication, some people are not, they cannot bury that, you know. So one of the main things is prevention, and that's why, I mean, the Solano County Health Department, the Solano Education, the Solano Serenity Center, and other entities and other educators, we are right here to help our community, but it's nothing we can do if the community is not engaging with us. There's nothing we can do if a mom or dad is afraid to talk to our kids about sex. You know, it's something very natural, very normal. So, I want to speak a little bit also in Spanish para mi comunidad latina que no habla inglés, tal vez lo entiende muy bien, pero quiero hablar de cualquier manera en español. Es bien importante que protejan a sus hijos de enfermedades transmitidas sexualmente. Es bien importante, porque ustedes piensan que simplemente por ser latinos, simplemente porque los niños están chiquitos, no les van a enseñar una cosa que es muy importante, que todos nosotros sabemos, porque ya fuimos jóvenes una vez. Entonces las hormonas se van a volver locas, y si los niños no tienen información acerca de cómo protegerse, van a venir a decirles a su casa: mamá, ¿sabes qué? Que tengo sífilis, o ¿sabes qué, mamá? Que voy a tener un bebé, o ¿sabes qué, mamá? Que estoy infectado del HIV. Entonces, ¿cómo podemos prevenirlo? Prevención, hablarles de una cosa que es muy natural. Eso los va a tal vez salvar de que tengan relaciones en una edad temprana. Si le hablan a los niños de estos problemas que existen en la comunidad y que van a poder infectarse, ellos van a agarrar experiencia, van a saber que no pueden, ¿cómo se dice? Se me olvidó el español, que pues es mejor educarlos para que no se nos infecten, ¿verdad? So, you guys have to talk to the school district. You guys have to demand that you want your kids to get informed and get educated about STIs and sex education in the schools. Yes.
And so to go back to your question as well, I do want to highlight also one local organization, Club Stride Inc. They're also one of our partners who's helping us with this work, specifically among the youth. And so they actually have youth interns or youth peer educators who are spreading the word and getting the correct information out there, especially on social media. So I encourage you to also check them out as well. They are here in Vallejo. I believe their organization site is on Mare Island, but they're also trying to help us to get into the schools as well and normalize that conversation also.
Remember, it used to be that like the actual teachers, like it was. I went to Penn, and it was all the fifth graders, all the teachers, like they were used to be. Yeah. I just don't understand why it was taken out. But like Mario said, probably because the parents were complaining. A lot of pushback.
Any other questions?
I just want to say one thing. That's why it's important for us to stick together, vote, 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 more than 2 years. Interim vote matter, and that's what's been happening. They sneak behind us. At one time years ago, I wasn't aware that, it was important. I thought it was just for presidents. No, we need to write our congressmen, call them, get on their Jordache and make them work for us, because it's our taxpaying dollars, and that's what's happening. We are waking up and finding out, oh, midterms are more important. So that's what we need to do, I feel, as well. Get the word out. That's who's writing these laws and sliding them in, and now here we are. That's why I feel a lot of this woke issues and all of that is happening, and these people are taking over under religion. Thanks for letting me share.
I think you also have to deal with your school board.
Yeah.
If it's one thing to talk about stuff or to say things, to talk on the phone or to come to these meetings and what have you, and then we go home, right? And then the subject is left. But we also have to go to the school boards and the school district and let them know what we want. They keep coming to us and asking us for $3 and $4 million bonds, which raises our taxes and everything. And what are we getting out of that? Our students are getting out of it. We've gone from 19,000 students to less than 10,000. It's a mass exodus. So if we want change, if we want the things that you're talking about in these schools, then we as the people in this community have to at some point come together, not talk about it, but be about it and get out there and make the changes ourselves. If we're going to sit here and wait on our congressmen, we got quite a few of those folks right up in here in River City. And they're not doing anything but getting on television and talking a whole bunch of crap. And we are suffering, our children are suffering because of it. So at some point we have to make that stand, that type of stand.
Thank you.
I'm like you, I have a big mouth. So unfortunately, the education system has not been honest with just a lot of history, and I personally think that those conversations should happen in the home first, because I don't trust someone else delivering information that is so important, because your own views, your own opinions, your own foundation is going to come into that no matter what, because it's natural. So personally, I think it has to start in the home at a young age. And I do think if they're going to the Department of Education, going to educate our children, then let it be on something, biology, your body image, like you were saying, because that's honestly where it starts. Girls are so developed at 12 years old, and grown men looking at them, they need to know that their body is precious, and it is. So I would have no problem with, after checking the curriculum, and that don't mean that they still won't give their own opinions in that, because it's again, so many years of instilled your morals, your religion, your family, all their stuff. It's gonna pop up a little bit if you're teaching. It's gonna pop, even in a conversation, it's going to come up because you're going to give your opinion. So I think that if the Department of Education wants to educate our children, I think it should be on, like science or biology, something that is, or talking about like self-esteem and self-image and body image, because again, that's where I feel it starts. But we have to do our part at home.
What you said, doing it at home is fabulous, but we've lost that aspect over the years. We were raised with that, but my friend works at Pennycook. There's so much craziness that goes on, and it stems from the family, and we have to try to teach these kids. And these parents are not teaching, not all of them, are not teaching them anything.
Yeah.
And then I also agree with what you were talking about, how we need to also teach our kids I mean, they're going around blinging, right? Thinking that's the most important thing in the world. Well, they need to look at themselves as the biggest, most richest gem in the world. And so I appreciate what you said, because we need all of that to make that difference.
Okay, we have another person here. We have
I
Marco.
think I
Okay.
got a big mouth. I just wanted to share a story, a personal story. It'll be quick. I'm gonna be 37, and my aunt took it upon herself to share with me at 9 years old about AIDS. She was not shy. She used dolls, she used pamphlets, she talked about it openly when my mother was like, no, you cannot know about this. You cannot know about sex. I walked into those years prepared while I watched my peers not know anything about this. I watched 11-year-old girls get pregnant and dump their babies in the dumpster. I've watched women leave because they, had been in abusive relationships because they didn't have these hard conversations. Women who had STDs. I shared as much information as I could with my peers because I felt it was my duty to help my friends and schoolmates for this. And through the years I carried that knowledge, kept myself safe, helped others be safe, and I'm thankful for that. That hard conversation my mother would never have. So if you're an auntie, if you're a grandmother, if maybe mom doesn't really feel comfortable, tell her, look, this is important. I care about this child growing up with that information.
I'm that auntie.
Oh yeah, it was just a quick piggyback off of the sex education type of a thing. I don't feel that it should be the school's problems, but I do think that the district should have like I think that there should be maybe a resource center where there's people who can educate, because it's very uncomfortable for the parent to, with even when they have the religious and the cultural, it's sometimes maybe easier for you to get your child to get the information elsewhere. I don't think the teachers should do it, because then you have the parents that have to interact with the teachers all the time, and they're gonna be side-eyeing them, or they're gonna be pulling their child out, and that's gonna let them do their social studies, let them do their, and then let it be a place, a common place in each city, and where the children can, or we can go to the school and do it, or they can have a course where we did field trips everywhere else, a field trip to this, the sex education resource center. So that it is not, underneath the school district, and it's a comfortable, common place, a community place, where they can get information. So, yeah.
Too many times in my life I've seen where people won't have these conversations in their families because of religious hang-ups, because of fear, because they think it's not going to be my child. How many of you, and I'm asking an honest question, how many of you had friends that, oh, it's not going to be my child, and they came home pregnant? They came home with an STD. They came home, or sometimes they didn't even come home. Because, oh, it can't happen here. Guess what? The statistics bear out, it happens everywhere. We're not immune. And the children are not dumb. They need to have a childhood, yes. We need to pick a right age to talk about this, yes. But when we're seeing children giving birth in junior high in this country, I will blame the parents, because they're not talking to the kids. The schools can't, because the parents are saying no. It starts at home, it finishes at home. Open up the conversation. Let us talk about it so that you can deflect it. Oh, go talk to these people here. Have the health department set up safe spaces in the schools to talk about it. We can't even put a gay-straight alliance in any of the schools anymore. We can't talk about these things because the religion has gotten in there. The community has gotten in, no, we can't talk about this with our kids. They see it on the streets, they watch it on video, TikTok.
Ding dong.
They see it.
Okay, one last question and then we're going to go into the raffle, okay? Because we are going out of time, but right here. Question?
I want to point out how far we've come. When I gave birth and had bled a lot, they would not give me a transfusion of direct people because they were so scared that they couldn't screen AIDS. It affected me because I was in the hospital for a week because I couldn't fight infections. We've got to talk about it. We've got to vote up. One of the biggest problems is people who can afford it can run for election and they are not a full base. We've got to talk about it. We've got to vote it. We've got to have discussions. We just have to have discussions because they're afraid. They are so afraid that they're signing the death certificates or a lifetime of fighting this stuff. So conversations, talk about it where they won't talk about it. Be allies, because we are the front edge. People don't know them. It's all propaganda. It's no different than the propaganda that my grandmother had instilled about Manzanar being right because of propaganda showing they were going to bayonet our babies and we didn't know which Japanese were for us and against us. Gotta talk it. Vote it. Make the discussions and get the right people into government. Support them if they can't afford it, because without, the dominants will be those who are generations that are still scared and remember death certificates, and they believe that Sodom and Gomorrah was not about rape, not about corrupt sex. It wasn't. It's a lie. So talk it. Vote.
Okay, so that was the last question. Thank you so much. Do you guys like the presentation?
Yeah.
Clap, 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 clap. Aplausos, por favor. Powerful woman, powerful information. So, right there. I wanna thank Mrs. Carrie Swanley because she's a wonderful graph artist and she also helped me a lot in the process. Miss Tanya from the Mercy Learning Center, thank you so much. Excuse me. Hello. We have a wonderful team. So I want to thank Crystal and Naomi. I want to thank the Ballet Folklorico Quixali, Ballet Folklorico Nexayolin. I am very, Jaime, thank you so much for always being there. Calvin, thank you for setup. Anyway, I can thanks and thanks and thanks.
Portfolio for everyone. And you signed up for it. You didn't know that. So when